Hi, this is Kevin from Granturgismo.com again. And this is part 3 in our series on our decal kit for the DFGT. We're just about to get the whole thing covered up now. If you look down here, this is what you'll have left in a full kit. And this one I'm getting ready to put on here is probably the hardest one of the whole kit to put on, but it's really not too terrible. You just have to kind of know how to do it. The first thing we'll do is you take this edge and be sure and put it right where the crease is there on the wheel. You're going to want to line it up and let there be just a tiny bit of the black showing of the wheel. Don't try to lip this over the front, because if you do, when you do that, it's going to wrinkle. So you've got to keep it on the flat surface on the top. There you go. Now see, you can see I've got it lined up right here, and I've got it just short. Actually, it may be even just long. I'm going to move it just a little bit back. I can feel it with my fingers sticking over just a little bit. So I'm going to work it back just a little bit. Now granted, when you guys have more time to line this up, you can line it up perfectly. You take your time, because this is probably the one that needs the most finesse to put on properly. Then you just take your finger and kind of work the thin pieces down the side, and they cover up the black area on the side. Gives that carbon fiber look all the way down the side. As you can see there, it covers it up nicely. It looks really good when you're done with it. Makes it look like it's made out of carbon fiber. The next piece we're going to put on, if you have our paddles on, which this wheel doesn't have, then this piece will go down the tops of the base of the paddles in the back. Same situation here. We're going to take this notch right here, line it up with the notch on the wheel, and then that piece will either run down the side of your wheel if you don't have our paddles. If you do have our paddles, it'll just run straight out on the base and cover a little bit of the base. Get your pattern lined up, just rub it down. One other thing I noticed, and I'm going to turn this wheel back around, on our second video, I had a little air bubble in this left hand piece. There's two ways you can do that. You can try pushing the air bubble towards the hole, or if you can't get it out, let's say you're sealed here and the air bubble's trapped out in the middle, you can take your X-Acto knife right in the middle of the bubble and just do like this, just poke a little hole in it, and then rub it down. I noticed that in our second video. I didn't catch it before we put it on, but as you can see, I fixed it now and it looks good. So now we've got the top covered, and we've got down the sides covered. And that's all looking good. Our next thing we need to do is grab the piece that goes around our buttons here. This one will be the left side. And it looks like a solid piece until you take the center out, but there's a hole in there, which you'll see here in a second. It's the shape of the button. And all I really do on these is just line the hole up on the button. Let it drop down around it. Try not to force it in any way. And I always take a look to see my overlap on the front. I try to make those seams from the transition from the front and the side to just line up before I press down. And you just press it down. And there's that side. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Take it around the button. I laid it down around it. It looks like it's lining up good on the front. Like I said, if you have a little tiny black gap between there, this one didn't, but if you did, it's not going to be the end of the world. I've done this before, and it doesn't look, you don't really notice it because the black hides in that pattern pretty well. Now the last thing we've got here are covers for the underneath side of our spokes. And you basically just line your pattern up. Let me show you something here. This one's got just a little bit of a gap. This one's got a little gap there. So I am going to let that carbon fiber pattern roll over that radius just a tiny bit. I can see it. My lighting's not the best here. There we go. And rub it down. Now I left a little black gap in there, but I did let the back of it roll around so that pattern would come around the corner just a little bit. It'll stick down, but When you go around this top radius, if you try to do that, it'll wrinkle really badly. Then put our last piece on. Once again, kind of watching my pattern, which really, the pattern is going to line up because of the way we cut the parts out. If you push it all the way back in the corner, it's going to line up quite close, so you shouldn't be able to see it. Okay, that's it. We've totally, now with 3 parts, we've totally covered our DFGT. It looks like a carbon fiber wheel. As you turn it in the light, you'll see the reflective changes because it's not just a printed decal, it's a reflective decal. So you should be able to get that true carbon fiber look. Thank you, and visit us at Granturgismo.com.